as well, because if I'm selling my book at 250 and they take 50 rand from my book as part of the training of the student in Hustlers Business School, so it's easy. I can easily sell 1 billion copies. This is how I'm going to sell my book, through agents, not in stores.
Let's give Kathy a wonderful round of applause. We are now going to open for questions or comments from this side and that side. Let's start this side. It's one. Going. Okay, one hand this side. Two. Going this side. Okay, Braden, where's Braden? You'll close them for us. So it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, sir, let's go for it. I call him my brother Dinero.
Well, thank you very much. My name is John Adeniro, and relatively new in town, in this country. Your story is quite very inspiring. From Nigeria. Here's my question. At what point did you meet God? Most of the times you kept mentioning, God said to me. So it seems you have a very good and cordial relationship with God. And I want to know, you've never mentioned church, your pastor, you were on the street. So I looked at you like a street guy. At what point did you meet God? How did your journey with God start? And I think that's one. Let me leave it at that one. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, my dear brother, for that question. By the way, I've been to Nigeria, at Lagos and Owerri, and I love Nigerians. Their hospitality is amazing. I got born again when I was in college, Osizo Technical College in 1999. So that's where I got born again. Most people, when I tell my story about, and by the way, I'm also a pastor, I'm also an apostle, but I believe I was not called to start a church or be in the church. I was called to be in the marketplace, to introduce Christ in the marketplace. So most people, when I tell them about losing things, about losing the money, the divorce, and my mom dying in the process, they are asking me to say, but Katie, were you born again at the time? You know, there is this distorted belief among Christians that if you walk with God, you will never face challenges. It is not true. You face more challenges because you are with God. Right? Because your calling and your talents are not for you. I believe whatever that I went through, it was not really for me. It was for the people that God has called, so that through my talks, I can be able to heal them. That is why today when I talk, in my talks, the people will come and say, but you know what, Katie, Maukuluma, ingati you were talking to me. And 20 of them will come and say, but this message was not only for me, not for other people. Because of what I've been through, I could not have done that through reading books. Yet, it's so important to write books and so forth, but we need to speak from our life experiences. Even the Bible was not written by angels. The Bible was written by men of God who walked with God, but through their own life experiences.
Thank you so much for that. You know, Katie, before we go to the second question, I think also maybe as pastors, or particularly some of us from the Christian background, we have preached this prosperity gospel so much that's why I said, what happens when God says not yet? Because you won't think it's yes, 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 yes. The very same Paul who wrote 2/3 of the Bible. He went through struggles. How can I rule without suffering? But Jesus says, in this world, you'll have many problems. You'll have many tribulations, but I've overcome them. It's as if sometimes Christians, or maybe this colonial gospel, gave us this kind of thing, too extreme. Poverty or all is well. Anything you want from God, like a vending machine. I give you 100, give me all those things. And the process of allowing God to be God, He's God. When you lost your wife, when you lost everything, God was still there. But we don't talk about it anymore. I always say, you can never be a crown wearer in heaven until you're a cross bearer here on earth. You know, we don't want to talk about suffering, whatever. Same thing with Corona. Where is God with Corona? But pestilences come and go. God is still God. He's not freaking out because of Corona or Corona-related Corona complications. You know, he's not freaking out of that, you know. But it's as if we have forgotten that God must also take us through a process. Here is a young man, Joseph, had a dream, but the process before the completion of the dream. David, listen, not David Molap, because if it was David Molap, chief, Samuel coming to my house, I would have called Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril, forget this coalition government. I'm now, I'm an appointed guy. I'm now king. If it was David Malapu. That's why some of us can't get these kind of big things. You know what I mean? But David went through a process. But that's why he's asking a question. The process of God in good times, bad times, it does not shift God. God entered into a rest. I know I've got my Seventh-day Adventist people. Not a day. Eh? He entered into a rest. And God has rested. Ups and downs, God is still God. But why is it that when there is failure, when there is discouragement, when there is pain, we somehow think, no, God is not there. Maybe you are living in sin. That's why all those things are there, You
know what I always, before I even go to this point, God is trying to get all of us to live a purpose-driven life. Umam mentioned something that God who opens doors will also be the God who closes doors, because he's trying to get all of us to live a purpose-driven life. Unkulunkulu loves us so much that he will say to us no at one point. And really going back to the sufferings that we face as Christians, sometimes we are very oblivious to these things, because suffering is part of victory. And it's, as a child of God, you like it or not, it's a spiritual protocol. You will suffer. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Because you get so much stuff in suffering that even prayer alone cannot give you. The experience that you get from suffering makes you a better person in life. Like, for instance, sometimes the suffering that you go through will make you to be humble when you are rich. It will make you to always look at people as people, not as somebody else just because you think you have 2 rand in your pocket. So that is why most of the time people who got rich by all these tenders and all that, you can see they have money, but they don't have the character. And really, true success is not even measured by money, because fools can have money. And fools can have money today and lose money tomorrow. But the greatest success, I believe, is walking in your purpose. And once you walk into your purpose, you are able to have influence, to influence other people. I think the blessed life is the life of influence. And you cannot have influence in your life if you have never suffered in life. If you don't believe me, ask Nelson Mandela. If you don't believe me, ask Taylor Perry, who was homeless for 8 years. If you don't believe me, ask Steve Harvey, who lived from his car for 3 years. Most of the influential people in the world, they will also tell you about the most pain that they endured before the monies, before the suffering. So pain is grace, and suffering is part of victory, because it builds character in you.
Awesome. The second question?
I don't have a question, Dr. Mulapo. I've got a comment. The one thing I know of your events is that there are benefits. And I'm realizing that benefit when I'm sitting here, because he's not going to sell 7,000 books, because he's going to sell my book too. Yes, he's going to sell my book too.
Yes.
Kathleen, you are going to sell my book. You said you are going to sell 1 billion books. You will sell 2 billion because you are selling 2 books.
Thank you.
And Austria, what you said is powerful.
Yes.
Because like this platform,
yes,
by God's grace, we're opening it for him.
Yes.
But because of suffering, he understands that you are blessed to be a blessing. The problem with entrepreneurs, can I be racist here? Black people, men and women, when we are ahead, we forget to reach out to bring a brother or a sister. And then we forget that when we fail and fall, we may need that brother or sister to lift us up. So thank you so much. I didn't even think that way, to say now, here you are selling the books and God is opening doors and things like that. That's exactly how things go. Go ahead.
And he's going to be my client, because I'll deliver your diesel or fuel. That's what I do.
Thank you.
That's my other business that I'm doing. So I already have a client of 200,000 liters I love that.
If I was in church, I'd say,
Yeah.
Karanda Makorondo.
Oh, yeah.
If I was in church. If I was in church,
and
I would
you know,
say
he's
that.
such a testimony, Dr. Mulapo, because you see, he's telling these young people today that when you have a dream, God show you the end.
Yes.
He always show you. He showed him you're going to change the world at some point. But God doesn't tell you the middle.
Yes.
He never tells you you're going to reach a challenge. A very good example of Joseph. He dreamt that the brothers, the father, and everybody. But God never told Joseph the process.
Yes.
Or you are going to be in the pit, you are going to be accused, you are going to be thrown in prison. And that's exactly what he has illustrated today, that in life we must know that God will always show us the end. But he will not show you that you are because if he does that, we are all going to be scared.
Sure.
We will never achieve anything, because the moment we start knowing that, I might be in prison, I might be in the pit, I might be in the valley, then you are not going to be able to achieve. We all went through that, and that is why I said the doors, when they are closed, don't be discouraged. Talk to your God. And I'm talking to people who have faith in God. Obviously, if you don't have faith in God, you are going to struggle in life. So we are encouraging you that there's one person that you need to hold on to all the time in your life. You remember the woman with the issue of blood? She said, a million people were walking around, and she said, if I can just touch, if I can just, she didn't think of Jesus seeing her or talking, nothing. If I can just touch him, and I know that I will be safe. And that's what happened. But I just want to say, your story is an amazing story. It's amazing, amazing story of all the things that you have not achieved, but at the end, you know, when you become broke and you are homeless and you don't know where to go, you don't know what to eat tomorrow, it's the pain that you must realize at the end, or you're gonna achieve something. But I am the beneficiary of his story.
Austria, before Brother Dan closes, that is why I appreciate you and African Bank. You know, what you don't know is other people just confirmed this morning. I had an option to say, hey, Ritlej. That's why you see my team running up and down, because I want to be sure they have full lunch and things like that. We are oversubscribed here. But again, it's that seed that you're sowing, because you never know who's here. You know, faith, you said something, by the way, I live by faith with faith. Again, the judge shall live by faith, you know. Faith is my wife. The thing is, you said something important. You just said maybe we came for one person. Maybe it might be a man or woman of God who is going through stuff. Example, Bishop Carter, stand up again, my brother. We just buried their wife last week, but he's here today. I'm sure that man right here. And not only that, he brought some of these key guys. They're 5-fold, 6-fold, 8-fold ministry, everything is there. Okay? But you never know. Sometimes, as I said, forget about who you are. Just come in, have a listening ear. When you and I, Ashley, Granville is there. We're going to talk to Ashley in a minute. SSCN there. Guys, give me some money. Let's put this thing together. People don't understand. I could use this man. You could use this man to do something else. But we use it as a seed. Look at that seed. The oil. She's in oil. Did you hear what you say? So you're going to be, you know, but this guy at 10%. But I want to say to you also, Ria, thank you so much. As Ashley and Tabby and them, thank you. Double C, Zayn. You see, come on, Zayn, stand up, let the people see you. To Mahole, we're coming with Zayn to Paris with the sports. You're going to find out tomorrow what they do. Let's give Zayn a wonderful round of applause. Thanks so much, Zayn. Yeah. So, Austria, that's what we do. Brother Dan, wrap it up, and then we'll give Brother Kelly the last words before Ashley is going to be coming now. The importance, after you heard this story, as our business coach with ICANN, he mentioned something about this poverty mentality, and he rose from the ashes. Can you just stand up, or while you're sitting out there, just share some thoughts? What did you find out?
All right. I think what you mentioned about the mind, it is important to understand that the mind is like the womb. It takes a seed to go into the womb for it to produce a child. And the challenge with the womb is that the womb does not know whether the sperm comes from a boyfriend or a rapist or the husband. The womb knows nothing about it. All it knows is to reproduce. So that's what the mind is. The mind is actually the hand of God. God uses our mind. That's why the Bible says, have the mind of Christ. The mind is like the hand of God, that when you place something on the mind knows how to craft that thing and reproduce it. Remember that when a woman conceives, she conceives, you call it a baby or you call it a sperm. But truth be told, the womb conceives an entrepreneur. It conceives a doctor. It conceives all these attributes that you can think of. But they come in a form of a seed. And when they get inside that's why the woman conceives, but in the mind, it's called a concept or an idea. Same phenomena. The brain conceives. The mind conceives just like a womb. But the question is, where does the sperm come from? Is it the word of God or the word of the enemy? Because the word is a sperm. The word is a seed. When it enters the mind, it has entered the womb. So the great question, whose sperm is in your mind? Who are you going to reproduce? Remember, Mary conceived without Joseph. He conceived the word that she heard from the angel. And the angel says, blessed is the person who has conceived or received the word. So never take thoughts lightly. You are sitting on people's thoughts right now. You are wearing people's thoughts. If we're somebody else's thought. Hello? We drove people's thoughts coming here. We live inside of people's thoughts. So the mind is so powerful. After God gave us something powerful called the mind. He says, with this thing, you have anything you want in life. The problems that you have created themselves. You created those thoughts, you created those problems through your thinking. It is mentality that defines destiny. It is thoughts. It is your thinking that makes you relevant on this earth. So when we get born again, God gives us this powerful thing called the mind, that use this thing. The greatest wealth that it was laid into the hands of the wisest man who ever lived. So the mind is so powerful. You just need to know how to use it. I have a slogan, I have a motto. I call you can change your life by changing your thinking. Thinking is like a curtain rail. If it's in the right place, the curtain won't struggle to be in place. If the curtain rail is not properly placed, you'll struggle trying to align the curtain. But when your thoughts are properly aligned with the Word of God, properly aligned with God, remember, God lives in us. When Jesus found it in John 10:30, he says, I and the Father are one. The Pharisees were angry at him. The day you discover that God is within you and God is in your mind, then your mind will do wonders because you've just found the Creator. Remember, God is the Creator. So you've just found the secret to creativity. We are not only here on earth just to have fun, to have expensive cars, to have expensive homes, go to holidays. We are here to create. That's why we're here. And we create based on our Father who is the Creator. We copy Him. He used His mind to create the whole universe in 6 days. So my question is, how big is your issue? Does it require 600 days when God did it in 6 days? How big is your issue? Hello? So it is all the mind. And religion has taught us that we should shy away from the mind. We are spirit beings. All of us here, we spirit beings. Meaning we are made with the same fabric that made God. We are like that. But we dwell inside of a human body. And we possess a soul. And in that soul we have your will, your mind, and your emotions. And that's where we stay. We use the mind that God has given us to start to recreate like Him. So be careful of how we think. Be careful of how we use the mind. The mind is powerful, but you can create problems with the same mind. And I normally says, the Bible says, my people are destroyed, not by the devil, not by witchcraft, by lack of knowledge. So what is lack of knowledge? Ignorance is the devil himself. The Bible says he operates in dark places. So every time you operate in ignorance, you are functioning nicely with the devil. You have a covenant right there. The day you step out, he says, because you reject knowledge, I'm also going to reject you, and I'll also reject your children. So he does not only stop with you, he goes to the next generation. So the things we call generational curses are actually generational ignorance. So once we have knowledge, we have God, and we can function like our Father. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Daniel. He's part of the ICANN team, just like Ndate Khoboko. At the end of the session, when you network, we do business coachings for different companies, entrepreneurs, and some of you watching online, we will give you our information at info@ican4ir.com, info@ican4ir.com. We do individual coaching and business coaching. Thanks so much. But Keki, the last word from you, and then I'll wrap up.
My closing remark will be, especially to those that are starting in business, young entrepreneurs. The mistake that we do as young entrepreneurs is that we want to compete with others. Let us stop competing with other people, because competing with others might possibly lower your own standards. God wants you up in the penthouses. You are busy competing with people in the basement because you think that they are ahead of you. You've heard of your friend who just out of university got the job, bought the car in the house, but you forget that you are not an employee, you are an employer, so your journey might take a bit longer. And because you are competing with others, you lose your focus in life. You want to do as they do and forget your purpose and your vision. And another thing, as God is blessing us, as we start in business, as you start in business, save money to invest money. If you have 100,000 that you get as commission, as your pay, I don't know how to say this again, doctor. I have wasted in the past so much money with brands. And you waste so much money with brands because you don't believe you can become your own brand. You waste money with these useless brands. Instead of investing back into the business, you buy a shoe that will cost you this much, and you invite friends who don't even care about you to these expensive restaurants, just trying to look important. So I would say, invest money. If you can check on my Instagram page, you can see me in most pictures wearing almost the same clothes. Because I have realized that I used to wear different clothes on every occasion, on every picture, but losing money, looking important, but I was really going down the train. But today, when I have 10,000 rand, at least I make sure that I invest back the 5,000 rand so that with the rest of the money that is left, I can enjoy my life. I'm not saying don't live your life, but there's a right time where you will buy everything that you want. But let us start first living our lives by investing back into the business. Let us stop this mentality of Instagram. You get 200,000, you want to go and buy a Louis Vuitton that will cost you 80,000 rand to impress people who don't care about you. Me, my biggest lesson was when I was in the streets, all the people that I have lived to impress didn't care about me. Do you get what I'm saying? All these people that you are trying to impress, you are wearing this and this and this. Let me tell you, in the bigger scheme of things, those people don't care about you. So as an entrepreneur, let us stop wasting money and build and work on the groundwork. I have seen talented entrepreneurs who are getting evicted in their houses, who can't even buy food. But you will see them with the little money that they have, they will go to Signature, try to impress and act as if they are business people. Work with what you have. If it means you humble yourself to do the groundwork, God had already promised that if you humble yourself, I will lift you up. And God will not lift you up through angels. He will lift you up through the people that you will meet. That is why it is important, even when you meet people, to remain humble, because you might be acting big to an angel in a human form whom God has sent to lift your life. So humility is number 2. Be humble. If you meet people, don't be fooled by how they are wearing their shoes. I have seen billionaires who will wear sandals every day, and I will see people in Lamborghinis and Ferraris. They are even thinking of committing suicide because they are losing everything. So don't judge people based on how they look or what they drive. You might be missing your blessing thinking that the one you are ignoring, he's got nothing, yet he's the one with the money. So humble yourself, stop wasting money, invest money, and learn the business language. You cannot be going and doing your pitch and business presentation in language yasekazi. You need to know the business language. Those are the things that you need to invest your time, your money in. If you have a little bit of money, go buy books. As much as I hated school, I made sure that I bought 5 books every month so that I can also learn the business language, how to speak among entrepreneurs, because that's how they judge you. Successful potential investors, they don't even judge you based on the suit that you are wearing, because most of them will not even give you money, because bazothi lo muntu lona he's here wanting 100,000, but he's wearing a collateral. So let us be smart enough to invest in the knowledge, in the business, as entrepreneurs and in our lives, and then the good life will come. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kathy Mpanyana, the author of the book From Bad to Worse. From bad to worse to miracle. You only fail when you give up. So get a hold of this book, and then at the end of the program, we will give you all the media, social handles, and all this stuff on how you can get this young man to come and speak and be an inspiration to you. And remember, I know that when you buy this book, I know his heart. He gives back to the community so that we can have the next generation of leaders. In conclusion, he said, make use of what you have. What do you have? Moses had a stick. God used it. David had a sling. Picked up 5 smooth stones. God used it. The boy, during Jesus' revival, had only fish and loaves. And God used it. Use what you have. Until next time, this is David Malapo saying, I can, you can, together. Come on, give yourself a wonderful round of applause. Yeah, I'm going to change my suit for the next 2 sessions. So I know the suit, but we won't need like it. Smooth, go for it, Baba.
Wow, that was very powerful. Please, again, another warm round of applause. Dr. Dave, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Braketli. Thank you so much. But wait, only one thing came to mind as I was just sitting down, listening to the conversation, that everything is possible. So would you kindly say it to yourself that it's possible? Say it like a youngster dancing. Have you seen the youngster dancing? They change the face, they change. Say it to yourself like you mean it. It is possible. Well, thank you so much. For our next conversation, I would like to have joining me on stage Mr. Ashley. If you can just come, please. Let's Mshayeli Zandla as he comes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, you can have it on. You can have it on. I just want to have people wondering, who is this man with a cap indoors? So as they're still wondering, would you kindly answer that question? Who is Mr. Ashley?
Well, my name is Ashley Peters. I'm the trade area manager at African Bank. And I'm quite overwhelmed with the tone of this conference, because that's more my confession of faith is more my first love than my profession. Thank you.
That was very sweet and short. The confession of faith, that's how it goes. So we're not just going to waste more time. You're wearing an African Bank shirt, an African Bank cap. Yeah. Already I'm very, very much interested as to what's going on, what's happening. So who is African Bank?
Well, firstly, I just want to put on record my sincere thanks to Dr. Malapo and the ICANN Foundation and some of my colleagues here. Some of you I've met before. And those of you that do not know me, and those of you that from outside South Africa, welcome to our country. I think we have one of the finest countries in the world. It's all about managers and how they manage the country. And we also got a very rich country in Africa. So my take this morning, and what I'm going to share with you, will hinge on two types of tones. One is going to be the business tone, and I'm hearing a lot about belief. I'm hearing a lot about our faith. I myself am a very devoted Christian. My dad is 87 years old, and he's an evangelist. He's still working tirelessly, doing the things that he taught me to do. And the one thing he ever taught me in my life, getting to answering your question, was, he said to me one day, he said, "Son, you're never too old and you're never too young to learn. Every day, every man a student." So when I sit there and I listen to stories like yourself, sir, Ria Ludwaba's story, and even Dr. David Malapo's story, it reminds me of my dad, who had also been in a very disadvantaged position in his life, was an adopted child, and today, but yet, he was able to raise me up with 4 others, my siblings, and still have enjoyed good life today, as I would say, a true man of God. Selflessness, his heart's open to everyone up until to this very day. So African Bank, we were talking about discouragement earlier on. And I'm going to tie that up with the story of African Bank.
Yeah.
So why African Bank and who are we? So African Bank was started, and it's an amazing story. If any one of you have heard the story, I'm sure you will agree with me. It's one of the most amazing stories of how a bank, who is now worth 10 billion rand, started off. It started against a background of total discouragement. Why? The rules and laws of the land discourage people. Number one, as dark-skinned people, I call it, we were not afforded the privilege of getting finance as easily. Even today, we don't get as easily. But then it was even worse. No bank would even want to employ an African person as one of the workers in terms of the clerics going up to managers. I'm very thankful that I can boldly say today, with God's help, I was the first Indian bank manager for the Green Bank in Pietermaritzburg, ever. And I was the first bank manager that employed the first African woman as a cashier. Today she is the CEO of a construction company. So, so African Bank started off in a room where few guys that were part of NAFCOC, and the great founding fathers were Dr. Richard Maponya and Dr. Sam Mutsunyani. Dr. Maponya is late, and most of you know that. It was recently he died. But he was a true founding father of what we have in African Bank and also a lot of businesses. And Dr. Maponya is still alive. He's got a big citrus farm. His first love, as I hear, out in Limpopo, somewhere in that side of the world. And I can tell you right now, at his age, he was actually excited. I'm talking about a month ago. He was excited when the executive, the new, powerful, wonderful executive that we have, we're strengthening the bank, engage with him. So going back to my story, it was in Soweto when they had a meeting, NAFCOC meeting, and they said, listen, we want to open a bank of our own, a bank for the people and by the people. And we want a bank that will encourage people to invest and save, and also we'll be able to use some of that saving to lend to their businesses and what they're doing. And the story goes on that after the meeting, one of the gentlemen stood up and said, listen, we've been tired of talking and talking and talking unless we commit to putting something on the table. Then we can show real commitment and seriousness of launching a bank. So they took an offering amongst themselves. And if you can guess how much they've raised, I'll give you a gift during the recess. Who can guess how much they invested? 70 rand. They took a collection amongst themselves, 70 rand. Against discouragement, against the laws of the land, against all odds, they still said, we will push on, we'll persevere. And that is the story that started this bank, 70 rand. And today we're a bank that has an asset, retail asset value of fixed of deposits of 10 billion. Now that is an incredible story. And that is a story that drove me to leave the commercial bank that I was working for and join African Bank for a lower salary, even a low position. But I knew in my heart that one day I'll be seated here doing what I'm doing now, telling you why I work for African Bank and why African Bank is a bank that should be considered as a bank of your choice. And if it is, even if it's going to be a bank of second choice, but do something for the bank, for the sake of the founding fathers' vision, for the people, by the people. And this year we've added something to it, serving the people.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
That's phenomenal. Can we give him a round of applause, please? I'm very much intrigued with the story behind it, because most people just look at the emblem and don't really get to know what's behind that.
Yeah.
So the banner that you've been raising as African Bank is the gist of possibilities, that you can make it happen.
Yes.
So I can sit from where I can sit from where I am to really understand it, because from our first interaction, I think about a couple of weeks ago, the following day, because I also signed up to be part of African Bank.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. So I got a call the following day, and I was really much interested. The lady on the line was so professional. So what I'm really trying to say is the genesis, the gist for possibility is quite the emblem for African Bank for a number of reasons.
Yes.
And I can tell that from one of those reasons is investment.
Yes.
So what can you tell us more about the investment part of your work?
Well, you know, if I just stand here and just say we're offering the best interest rates in South Africa, That is no lie. So let me just take you back a little bit.
Sure.
When African Bank started, and most of you here that know about African Bank, if I say African Bank, you'll probably say, loans. Because our flavor was loans. And it's still a big flavor in the bank. But in order for us now to become a major competitor, and a lot of you know that the bank went through a curatorship in 2014. You know that. There was reckless lending. It's a story that everyone knows. But in 2016, like a phoenix that rises from the ashes, we were the first bank to appoint the first black woman. It was the first bank to appoint a black woman in South Africa as its CEO. Ever. So we decided that if we want to become a major competitor, then we're going to have to diversify our product mix. And so we started engaging with our product team to then develop different products that will fit in with our book at that time, with the people that are part of our book at that time. And I'm proud to say that today we have launched our investment product offering, and we've also launched one of the best accounts and the only account in South Africa that's made to share. It's called the My World account, which I will tell you about just now. But with your kind permission, sir, can I invite one of my colleagues?
Most definitely. Most
Kabi,
definitely.
who's a young, fine man here. Some of you heard him on the last conference.
Yeah.
Please have a seat, sir. Yeah. And you mentioned, thank you, Kambi. You mentioned that we have a very good investment offering. So at the end of this, I would like you, before I even hand over to my colleague here, for you to write this down on a piece of paper. Ashley Peters, 083 372 3502. 083 372 3502. You're going to have a conversation with me. And I will take your calls up to 11:30 curfew time. I will take your conversations, not a problem. So I'm asked Kabi now to just talk about our investment product offering. And we've been hearing wonderful stories of how people acquired wealth. Now they're going to give me some of their wealth. Thank you. Thank you, Kabi.
Is it working? Can you try it? Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as well, for this opportunity. I'm honored to be here today. Some of the testimonies and stories that we've heard today have been inspiring, not just to me, but I'm sure to everyone in this room. Now, as you mentioned, the investment products and what do we offer at African Bank?
Sure.
Now, what African Bank had noticed was that there is a large majority of South Africans that do not save and do not invest. So when we started this product, we decided to first look at what are the reasons behind this. Why are people not choosing to invest? Why are people not saving their money? We are all aware that we have things that we might want to achieve and that we need to put aside money for all of these things, whether that's buying your 30,000 Gucci or whether that's just taking care of your family. Yeah. So what African Bank had decided to do and what we saw in the market was that there was a certain class system where depending on how much you earn or how much you have, you would earn a much better rate than someone that didn't have that much. And so we decided to address this need by first making sure that we offer the best to all of our clients, regardless of whether you are someone that is just starting out or you work in a kitchen or wherever you are, or you are the top CEO, because we wanted to get rid of this class system that we saw existed within this investing space. And that was really the cause, or one of the causes, as to why people are not choosing to invest. Yeah. South Africa is still a very developing country, So you have to realize that majority of your clients are not necessarily making hundreds of thousands a year. So you have to create a product that is going to meet each individual's needs, regardless of what scale they might be on in terms of earning.
But I can also agree with the fact that in as much as they're not in that rate in terms of their income, but we normally classify people who squander money unwisely as bomponing. Do you know such? Yeah, utoli 10,000 and Jane tomorrow. So you've tailored that to serve people as such. Am I correct?
Correct,
Yes, sir.
correct. One thing that we have to realize is that in South Africa, and especially amongst Africans, there is a mindset change that needs to happen.
Yeah.
We were hearing a lot about your vision, what God has given you, and the faith that you need to have to move into it. But I think Dr. Mokoena was mentioning it, that your mindset, if it's not aligned, you're never going to even reach your vision, even though it can be as clear as day.
Yeah.
And the mindset that we have as Africans is that we still have this mindset of, I'm going to hustle and I'm going to get what I want to get, and when I get it, they're going to see how rich I am.
Bomponing.
You know, Ketli was mentioning it perfectly. I think, Ketli, you must be our brand ambassador. Honestly, your story, it's amazing. Your story is amazing. And his story really emphasizes what it is we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, he was a young man, and he was at a point in his life where he didn't have much.
Yeah.
But his mindset was in a place where he understood, I need to put money aside. If I'm going to achieve anything that God has for me, I need to put money aside. But then, unfortunately, you know, he managed to get what God was giving to him or showing to him. And instead of continuing with that same mindset, you can see that the mindset now changed, and he had to now be seen. His success had to be revealed and showed to everyone else. 100%. So this is what African Bank is trying to achieve, not just offering great investment products. Yes, that's great, but trying to change the mindset of South Africans to look at investing as something that we don't just do, or it's not just for a certain type of person, but it's something that we should all do, and we are all responsible for our own financial freedom.
I totally agree. And, you know, on that note, there are many Catholics, if you will, my brother. There are many Catholics who are actually with us virtually, and also, I mean, here actually, and also virtually, who are actually asking themselves, Uti, I've been working for the past year. Things have been doing great for me, and I have money that I've stashed. Now, what to do? So now my next question to you, Mr. Peters, with UKB is, there are people now asking this question, what to do in terms of investment now?
So with the investments that African Bank offers, when you're asking what to do, it can start from a very simple place. We have accounts that start for as little as 50 Rand, and ones that go up to 500 Rand as well. So you should really be looking at your budget and trying to understand how much can I actually put aside every month. 50 Rands is a negligible amount to most people in this room. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I love how you are simplifying it, because trust me, during lunch, people will be coming to you.
Yes, thank you.
So I think that's where we should all start. I don't think, first of all, we must realize that we must first have, in order for us to reach a goal, there needs to be a step-by-step process for us to be able to make it. You know, having a goal is great, but you're never going to get there if there's not a system in place that you can follow on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, to ensure that you meet your goals. So, you know, everybody can start by first looking at their lives, doing an audit on your life. You were mentioning the fact that we are businesses ourselves.
Yeah.
So in a business, you have audits that you run.
100%.
You have to think about the next financial year. This is how we must start thinking about our lives and our finances as well. Do an audit on your life. What are the things that you can perhaps cut? Does this money have to go towards this expense? Do I have to go out every single night? Or if I put this money away, would it not serve me better in the long run? If we are going to look at ourselves as businesses, then we have to start asking these questions very seriously to ourselves. You understand?
Yeah. So on that note, Mr. Peters, you are actually looking at one of your potential investors So
Thank you.
I'll be with you during lunch.
Wonderful.
And if there's anyone amongst us who really has this interest, they should come, because there's no need for me to work too much. And at the end, I'm like this gentleman mentioned in the book of Haggai, who works a lot only to put his money in a purse with holes in it.
Please.
And we have many dozens of people who are actually going through that. So thank you so much for the experience. You want to add me something?
Yes, I'd just like to add on. You know, every one of us, those of you that are earning a salary through a company, but also through your own business, and every one of us get that money at the end of the month. And do you realize that you should actually be paying yourself? But we do everything for everyone else. But it's not bad, because taking care of your family is also a very biblical thing. It is important. Take care of your home. And you're doing everything. But who's the person behind that, receiving that reward every month? It's you. You're working hard for it. I mean, we know the taxman gets the money first. Our medical aids are taken, they take the money off the top of our salary, and the rest of it, and the funeral plans, and all the kind of thing. But you are the one that's working hard. Years ago, in the 80s, when I just started at the bank in 1981, a consultant was a white individual, and he said to me, Afrikaner guy, and he said to me, Ashley, when you get your salary, you must pay yourself first. And from that day, that stuck in my head, that you need to put away something for you. It can be 50 Rand a month. I mean, we have the tax-free investment at the moment. You invest, you start off with 50 Rand, and every month you can put away 50 Rand. Add to that 50 Rand. That's all we want. But it's going to mean a little pool for you. Obviously, at some stage in your life, you've accumulated wealth, and then you're going to get to a point where you're going to let the money that you've saved work for you. For example, on our fixed deposit, right now we're offering a 10.5%, right, over 5 years. If you stick money in and leave it there. If you put in, I'm just giving you an example. If you put in 1 million Rand, I can see people smiling, they got 1 million. Yes, thank you. If you put in 1 million Rand and leave it for 5 years, at our rate at the moment, without touching that money, at the end of 5 years, 60 months, you will get 1.565 million. Am I right? So 500,000 Rand, you didn't even have to work. You didn't have to think. It's just letting itself grow. Let your money work for you, if you are in that category. Obviously, you can look at figures relative to what you can afford and what you can do. So we'll be outside this, and thank you for giving us that. We'll be outside. If you have any questions and stuff like that, please feel free to engage with us. But I want to leave you with something else, because everybody is talking about this wonderful faith of our Christian faith. So now, Dr. Bulapo, can the evangelist come out of a banker? So what you sow is what you reap. And the Bible says that. Abraham, like you, my friend, gentleman here, when he was having quabbles with Lot, you remember the story?
Yeah.
And what did he say to him? The promise was given to Abraham that he will be the father of many nations as the number of stars in the sky. But what did he say to Lot? You choose first. You choose first. And Lot chose, according to our standards of the world, he chose the north, which seems to be the better part of life. And we know what happened thereafter. He actually chose the worst, because he came back. And Abraham's heart was very sore for his nephew. But Abraham chose the south. Anything south these days, they say it's going south. It's down, it's finished, it's over. But what he did was, although he chose the south, because of his promise that he was given, it sustained him to become the wealthiest. I don't think up until now there's anyone as rich as Abraham was. There'll be no man on the face of the earth, because that time he had a covenant with God. So likewise, I'm saying to you, you may be in a position where you are discouraged. We heard about discouragement this morning. Thank you, Dr. Malapo. We've heard of people that were in a situation in their lives, they were so down and out. But you know, when you're on your back, there's no ways to look than up. You look up, and we know our faith carries us through. I myself, this job that I've got was prophesied on my life by my pastor, who was my father spiritually. And I have a great passion for this bank because it started off with 70 Rand and a powerful prayer.
Yeah.
So you want to be part of something, leave a legacy, or invest in something, you can be part of African Bank for the sake of our founding fathers in South Africa. I want to thank you very much for the opportunity. And Dr. Malapo, it's always a pleasure to affiliate with you. As you say, you can, I can, we all can. And you know what? At the end of the day, we'll do the can, and we'll enjoy it. Thank
Definitely.
you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, one more thing. I do apologize. On your tables, you'll find a little pamphlet here. It says Invest Today. Does it say Invest Today? So if you read it tomorrow, it'll say Invest Today. So it's very current. Please put your name and number on the, you don't necessarily have to give us your ID number, but your correct contact details and your email address will be appreciated. One of our able consultants from your division will give you a call, and we can do the necessary according to your pocket and what you need. I promise you, your funds will grow. Thank you.
You're most welcome. So one thing is, one needs to pay themselves.
Yes.
And that is via investment, if I got you correctly.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Mr. Peters and KB.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let's give it up for Brother Smooth. This young man, watch the space, Ketty. Watch the space. We're getting older. You guys need to take over from this. We've got 2 more interviews, and then lunch is served, and we are done for today. So are you having fun up to this now? Are you being challenged and encouraged? You're going to be connecting with some people, I get it. So 2 more interviews, and then we are done, because we are also buying time for food. Food will be ready about 1:30 to 1:45. Then we'll still have the food network. Let's catch network and see. Then if maybe God has shown you some, I'm joking. Okay, let's Ashley Dlamini, please, if you can come. Let's give her a wonderful round of applause, Ashley. And then Aus Angela. Kasara, please come on in, Aus Angela. Can come sit up here, Ashley. Thank you. First of all, can we say thank you so much to Austria? This place, the humidifiers, you see at the back there, it's sanitizing all these things. Do you see all the other, do you have 1 or 2? The other one is right there. It's the sanitizer, the humidifier here. It's one of Austria's company there. So while we are here, up there, the air is being sanitized. But if you're still comfortable to put your mask on, that's fine. But that's why I'm not careless. I know what I'm doing, because we know this place is sanitized. That's why we use a lot of events here, okay? So thanks so much. Okay, let's open this session, and then we go from there. Ready? Okay, are we ready? Sharp. Hi, this is David Malapo welcoming you to I Can Conversations with David Malapo. And we are privileged today to have a live studio event. Please scan them. Let's give yourselves a wonderful round of applause. And today we've got 2 special ladies, because tomorrow I'm a Jita, so today abo mama just call abo mama. On the other side, we've got Angela and Ashley. And again, welcome to the I Can Conversations with David Malapo. Let's start from the other side. Angela, welcome to the program. Is it on? Just check it up. No? Okay.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
There you go, yes. Okay, let's rewind. Play. It's TV stuff of it, you know. And welcome to Angela. Angela, introduce yourself. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Malapo, and thanks to everyone here. My name is Angela Kasara, and I'm the founder of Choose Juice. I'm in the agri-processing industry, so we manufacture fresh juices, 100% natural juices, which are made from raw fruit and vegetables, which are jam-packed with your fruit and vegetables, which have your enzymes, your nutrients, vitamins, and minerals which your body needs. So that's what we do, and it is SA's favorite juice.
Awesome. And at the end of this program, you're going to be hooking up with Masana. You're going to find out what they do. They do the other stuff, and then you have the juice, and I'm also going to be talking about the health product. Good to see you. Sis Ashley, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Ashley Dlamini, and I'm here in my capacity as Vice President of Marketing and Sales for an energy company with the banner in the back there that says Granville Energy. Yeah, that's who I am.
I'll say, let's start firing some questions there before we're going to open it to everybody here. Ashley Dlamini, before Granville, and by the way, thanks so much for the sponsorship and the support. Tomorrow, we're going to be speaking to Tabi. I just spoke to him now. He's in Addis Ababa on his way to Niger. So via satellite, we're going to hook up with him. Before your current assignment, you were involved in big-time marketing. Share that journey with us.
Absolutely, yes. So my background is in corporate marketing. I worked for a large multinational, US multinational, which is responsible for what we call consumer product goods, which is basically the stuff that you use every day in your homes, the stuff that you buy in the supermarkets. And I used to run national campaigns, going out into the market, advertising to people, and just educating consumers, which is you guys that buy the products, about the benefits of the products. But also coupled with that, I think it's important to mention what sort of the catalyst, or what set me on the entrepreneurial journey was in doing this work. We had a specific mandate around dealing with community-driven initiatives, where yes, it was entrenched in the brand and getting the brand out to the people, but we actually also found that in doing that work, there were some real community needs that would surface through those interactions. And in doing that, I questioned myself around how possible is it for business to exist or to coexist or to partner with society, right? Because there seems to be a belief that profit is just that, and it can only be economic, right? So I questioned around social profit, so how can a company deliver both its economic objectives as well as its social objectives? So I then went into consulting with exactly that lens. So thinking around how can we help business to become better business, to show up for communities and to give back, essentially. Yeah, and that's really what triggered my move into entrepreneurship. Granville is it adopts that same mindset around giving back, around empowering. I have with me 3 ladies in the back who are part of our marketing and sales team. We are really invested in building and growing and giving back and lifting as we rise.
What is Granville all about, the Granville company? I know you're partnering with us, but what really would you say is your main thing,
Right. So Granville is, we call ourselves an energy tech company, right? So we're not just about energy and we're not just about tech. We're about providing a solution. And our big vision is to power 1 billion Africans. As you've rightly mentioned, Tabi is in Niger, which is in West Africa, for those that don't know. So our mandate is really to go out, from South Africa into the rest of the continent to power 1 billion Africans, because access to power is definitely an issue. I don't think I need to state that. I think we're all aware. So we are driven principally by 4 things, right? So power must be accessible, power must be affordable, and power must be sustainable, and power must be available. So it's essentially around those 4 principles. And I think and we're very strategic around how that is ordered, right? So the accessibility is the first issue. So everybody must be able to have access. And then over and above that, we also need to somehow make it more affordable for everybody. So our intention or our plan, our approach is to really be very solution-oriented and very solution-focused around the consumer or the prosumer, which is a term that's used in solar energy. And what that speaks to is we don't discriminate. So our whole idea is around the democratization of access to energy. So anybody and everybody should be able to access energy. So we have solutions in place. We have rent-to-own solutions where it would be a hire purchase kind of agreement to enable you to pay for your solar system over a number of years. Yeah, I think that's that's pretty much it.
I've got 2 more questions. We'll come back to you before we open to the people. Thanks so much. Angela, these are trying times, coronavirus. A lot of people here, a lot of people online lost their jobs. Some of them are now getting into this entrepreneurial world. How difficult is it to get into business during this time?
Well, I'll speak for myself right now. And well, this business was actually birthed in 2019, right? And I started from home. So one day I was taking a jog and got home, and I religiously made my own juices. So I would freshly squeeze them myself. And I had a carrot and beetroot juice in my hand. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? I could sell this. And that's how it started. It was unplanned, and I decided to monetize it. I had no idea what the FMCG industry was about. I did my research in terms of bottling, what type of bottles, what type of lids, everything, the works. I did everything. So it was birthed in 2019, and then during COVID, it went dead still because I was just supplying on an ad hoc basis to friends and family and neighbors. So I saw that it was really a great business, and there was a demand, and people were moving into this healthy living, healthy eating. So in 2020, I officially launched it, and this was right in the middle of this pandemic. So we launched it officially, and that is when I sent it through and was able then to market it aggressively. And we were able then to shelf it in one spa, the first spa in Centurion. We're in 5 retail stores at the moment. So it has not been easy. I won't say it has been an easy journey. What has made it a little bit easier for me was that I've already had a business that failed. I had a travel agency before, which I ran for about 3 years, and it failed dismally because I had no business experience. So I would say the first thing that one needs to look at is we really lack that business experience. So I went in with chutzpah, you know, but neplak. So I went in. So I went in and didn't know anything really, and that was a great stepping stone. It was educational. So I taught myself everything from travel, how to book. I was a one-man show, did absolutely everything. So that was a great journey, and it assisted me to understand the fundamentals of business, the compliance, the paperwork, you name it, from SARS, from tax, everything. So I learned that. So that business failed, and this one started. So that has assisted me. 2, another challenge was I didn't have any funds, or I didn't get funding from no one. I had the idea, and I really had a good business partner. He's a good friend of mine, Houghton Hotel, and he's been a tremendous help in the brand positioning in terms of how the look and feel of the brand. So he's assisted with that. So that has really helped in terms of our feel in terms of how our website looks. But obviously all the creative elements come from me, the color, the vibrance. It all represents me, and he was able to make that and bring that to life. So that he still is part of the business. We started the name together, how to choose the name. Choose Juice was actually first, it was Choose. It was CHOOSE. And then we decided, no, because there's someone else who has a company called chooseajuice.coza. And we said, you know what, we know we're going to grow. I know what the vision is for this company, and I know how far I want to take it. So I don't want to have any conflict in the future. So then we decided to call it CHUZE, which can also Choosey Juice, Choosey Health and all of that. So health is wealth. So that has been another thing that helped me. And also I've been part of an incubation, which is called Liparo Incubation. So they're really great. They've assisted us, me in particular, with all the compliance. And they assist us with management accounts. They assist us with access to markets. There's a lot of things that has assisted with the challenges and everything that I've experienced during this time. So they've been a tremendous help as well. So Houghton, it was Liparo. So they've been able to assist with all the background work, all the things that you have to pay for, legal services. They have everything under one umbrella. And what I like about this incubation, because the second one that I've been part of, they've really been able to assist us new business people that come into the market. So I would really recommend that kind of, and I really, really would urge that these kind of hubs be formed where they're more hands-on. So that is what has assisted. And because we don't have the capital funds, so everything started from internal. We funded internally from our own funds. So that has been really the challenge. And right now is the working capital. The working capital, as you would know, being an entrepreneur firstly is a challenge in the first year. If you break even, you're lucky. You're actually going to work at a loss. So it's a fairy tale when people think you're going to get in a business and you're going to be a millionaire the next day. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of mental work, a lot of emotional intelligence, because you need to constantly psych yourself up. There are days when you do not know where you're going to get your next produce. You have the bottles, you have everything else, but you don't know where you're going to get the rest. And I have heard many, many stories of entrepreneurs, and that has been the challenge. So the only thing that has really, really worked for me is to keep going. You really have to have the tenacity. And also to have, like I heard earlier, when you have a dream, you can't attain a dream without a goal. And you can't attain a goal without a clear plan. So you need to have a plan and have a clear vision and have objectives and how you're going to meet these objectives. So that has really been things that have enabled me to overcome these challenges. At the moment, we have now managed to we are going to be on Uber Eats very soon. And this is actually, we not say we, I'm talking the plural form. I'm so used to that. It's actually I in most cases, because I do everything in terms of marketing this business. So I have managed to clinch a deal with Spa. We're about to be in 50 spas right now, right? So we have these agreements, Uber Eats, and we have an e-commerce, we have an online store where I am able to supply nationally. So we supply I supply as far as the Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, Mpumalanga. So we've used this courier system that has been there. So it takes creativity. It takes a lot of creativity. It takes a lot of, I had to see things differently. And because of my mindset, because of my background, because I've been in sales and marketing, I've been able to interact and build strong relationships with people. And that is what has kept me going. It's not about what you know only, it's also about who you know and how you've managed to build those long-term relationships. So it's all about relationships. That has been key for me. Everything that I've achieved so far was built on those relationships that I've actually nurtured. So that is really how far I've come. So the challenges right now, I'd say, really was also people not able to purchase the product because it's a premium product. Not everybody is able to afford healthy juices because these are pure juices. They're 100% pure. They have benefits, health benefits, and so on. So a lot of people didn't have that, money to buy, these products. So that has been, and also the what you call it, the pandemic with the lockdown, your third wave, the looting has really been the biggest stumbling block for us at Choose Juice. So it just means you really have to see it, and you really have to keep going. You have to find, it's like chess, you constantly have to know which move you're gonna make next, and that is how I've kept going. You really have to be, not as in a negative way, but you constantly have to think and scheme, but I'm not saying it in a negative connotation, but you really have to think all the time. So that is how I've managed to go through all these challenges. So those have been the major challenges that most entrepreneurs have, and especially being a woman, it can be doubled.
How's Ashley? Prosumer, I've never heard of that word. Please educate me. That's a mental block about what? Did she say consumer, prosumer? I always teach people, if you're not growing, you're dying, And then hopefully, after this, Angela must also have one of your solar panel going to expand there. Yeah. The name prosumer, what does it mean?
Okay, so prosumer means...
Not prosumer, prosumer, consumer, prosumer.
Correct.
Yes. It's after election, so until these things really happen.
Right, so prosumer means basically you play a dual role, so you both produce and consume. So a producer and a consumer of energy.
See, Mr. Ashley, I'm always learning. Prosumer, okay. Yeah. Now, let's talk about because you're here, you're a partner, so I want us to make some money out of this. There are some government people here, online and whatever. So just be practical now. The solar, right now, ESCOM, I'm sorry to use this word, it's not a religious program, it's a secular, I'm heartful, okay? Because just 2 days ago, instead of 4 hours, we actually had 8 hours lockdown. It started with 4, they gave us a break, another 2 hours load shedding, another 2 hours. So this thing is moving from 4 to 2, that's 8 hours in one day. We are sick and tired of ESCOM. How can you guys alleviate the pain? Entrepreneurs depend. I just said to my wife the other day, I don't have a clue how entrepreneurs can move on with electricity in and out, and now suddenly overnight you're being told low 2 stage, and what practically can you do as Granville?
So
what are you doing now?
So I think the first point of departure is around, if we think about legacy, and if we think about us as humanity, right? So there is definitely an obligation around sustainability. So I think that's really the first kind of area of focus, is around participating or partnering or becoming more green, to use very generic terminology.
And the timing is powerful, because we just had a climate change conference going on with so many rich countries saying they'll give us money. So the conversation is actually relevant and topical as we speak.
Absolutely. So there is, as I say, there's an obligation, and I hope we all feel that sense of obligation and duty for the generations to come to really be more mindful around our energy consumption pattern, and being more responsible to the environment, and all those things that I could expand on. So I think that really is the key focus for us, is around legacy and what we leave behind for our children and our children's children, right? So, and this also is entrenched in, you can look at it from a religious point of view, you can also look at it in terms of us as African people, in terms of Ubuntu, right? So it's really about looking out for the next person and really being invested in the next person's progress, or the next person's ability to prosper or to move forward. So I think that's really the mindset and the approach that we adopt. And then again, also when coming back to what entrepreneurship is about, right? So as an entrepreneur, you have to have a problem that you're solving, right? So you can't just be an entrepreneur for the sake of being an entrepreneur. And we are, I suppose, fortunate in the sense that there is a very real problem that we have the ability to solve. And as I say, our approach has really been, because I think the perception in the market is, the minute you say to somebody, invest in a solar system or invest in an inverter or something, the immediate response is always, it's so expensive, right? And so we've also then identified that as a hurdle or something that stands in the way in terms of people actually then being able to participate in the green revolution, as it were, which is why we've come with new thinking around how do we make it accessible to everybody or accessible to more people. Yeah, so I think the way we look at the problem is in those two ways, right? So it's around becoming more sustainable and contributing to a greener future, and then the second part is around how do we allow everybody, or how do we widen the funnel, the target market, in terms of the number of people that can then actually access energy. Back to the point that I made initially, which is that our driving point, our driving force is around accessibility. So access is first, affordability is second, the sustainability elements also come in, and then how to also ensure that the power that we put out there, that we generate, that you generate, is also safe for you to consume.
So right now, during lunchtime, people are going to be checking up. I've got people in this room that have got money. Can they immediately today speak to you? You can come in, you assess their house, put a solar, inverter. What is an inverter? What's an inverter?
So an inverter is basically a storage, an energy storage unit. Yeah, I think that's the best way
Okay.
to
So
explain.
bottom line, we want to be off-grid ESCOM. That's the bottom line. Let's stop beating around the bush. I know the IPPs, whatever. I'm talking about there's some people here who are going to come to you. You come to my house now. I want to get out of ESCOM, and right now, you obviously assess my needs, you know, and then you can put either a solar or a hybrid, you know, there's kind of combination of energy that you can help them immediately today, is that right?
Absolutely. So we have 3 ladies in the back there who are all part of the sales team, so I'll highlight them again. They can for sure take down details, and we'll certainly be in touch around organizing, coming to your premises to do the assessment, evaluation.
And it's both commercial and residential?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So as I mentioned, I think in the beginning I mentioned that we're an energy tech company, and maybe I didn't really hone in enough on the tech aspect.
Yes.
Right, so our solution is really an engineering based solution. So we don't just, what's the word? We don't just give you something for the sake of it. So it's really a customized solution. We use, when we produce a report for you, it's a comprehensive report that gives you aspects around your consumption pattern, that gives you aspects around the different types of solutions that we could propose, to your point that we made. So you can either have a backup solution, you can have a hybrid solution, or you can go completely off-grid. Yeah, and we are available and able to certainly assist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because your boss, my friend, is probably watching this program. So 3 things. Commercial, individual homes you can assist. Companies, so it's commercial, companies, and also government. You work in conjunction also. Example, City of Joburg or governments, national government. You can also do some joint ventures with them, is that right?
We certainly can. I would maybe just mention at this point that that's not a path that we've traveled down as yet, and I say as yet quite emphatically. The idea is not to not do it. The idea has just been the way things have unfolded, or rather our proposition had really focused more on commercial enterprises and on residential initially. We also do, and I think I'm at liberty to speak a little bit into a project that we've partnered with the IDC on. So we've partnered with the IDC to provide energy solutions for participants in the tourism sector, because obviously the load shedding and that kind of thing really affects them impacts them quite negatively. So we are in conversation with the IDC, and we've actually started rolling out some projects and assessments to provide energy solutions for guest houses and B&Bs, basically sort of small, let's call it small tourism businesses. Yeah.
we got some couple of bishops here, okay, and archbishops here, and international bishops. So even namasonto na ngawazama ngithi bafundisi yanzamela namasonto ngithi, and we'll get a Corvette friendly price. Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Guys, let's get that thing right here. Sis Angela, ngwazi for many, many years. And what I like about you, Katie, you remind me of her. She's a hustler, she's a hard worker. Unkulunkulu in your life, how does God play a role in Pilonako?
God works in mysterious ways, eh? And I call him Unkulunkulu Wamakoratu.
Unkulunkulu wati?
Wamakoratu.
Or Koratu time.
At the 11th hour, he will step in.
Okay.
You know, so I believe God gives everyone a gift and a purpose, right? Whether it's commercial, whether it's a calling, and for me, my journey in every sphere, whether it is my personal life, my business, or my calling, I know that God has ordained each and every one of us, including myself, for whatever purpose, and we will be gifted in certain things, and if it's business, you will get the creative ideas. God will impart that for some reason. He does that, and he works in a very peculiar way. Only you would know when he's working with you. So it's in different spheres, and whatever God has planted in your head, whatever He has given you to do, I know that for sure you are able to attain it. It's not there by chance. If you have these crazy ideas and this huge vision about your life, and you visualize it every day, God has planted it there. It means you can manifest it. And you know, I want to mention this. I do markets. So I do the Sunday markets. I do that for brand awareness and also for our online shop because it attracts a lot of those people. So something very interesting happened to me over the weekend. And three different people approached me, 3 strangers, at one market. So I went into a shop at Melville. So this lady sells clothes. And I had a brief conversation with her, and she said to me, you know what, when you have contacts on your phone, you better use them. And God will work in mysterious ways. Before you know it, God will step in. She said, you know, she had an incident where she didn't sell one item the whole day that day, and she was about to close shop. And something said to her, stay a little bit longer. You know, her kids were there, so she didn't feel like leaving. And at 7:15, someone got in the shop, and she said, you know what, I'm going to come in, don't close up. I've been looking for these items for such a long time. Just wait. I just need to go and speak to my husband quickly. He's at the restaurant. So then she sat there, enjoyed the music. At about 8:15, she was like, what am I doing? And she left. So as she's about to leave, the lady comes in and she steps in, and she actually bought the entire shop. She bought this, I want this. So she listened to that intuition, and that was the message that was relayed to, was actually meant for me to, God was speaking through another person. And the second incident, I was sitting at the restaurant on my laptop. My daughter does the promos, so she was selling and doing the promotions at the market. And these 2 security guards come and approach me from nowhere. And they say to me, you know what, you've got to pray. You've got to have trust in God. God will make a way for you. Don't worry, God will make it for you. And I thought, okay. And maybe not even 30 minutes later, I spoke to this other lady, and she said, you know what, God is going to do so many things for you. God is going to do great things for you. And that is how God works. And when God has given you something, when God has ordained you and the destiny you need to be, whatever destiny you have, no man can interfere with that. No man can say, these are my contacts. When God will bring contacts to you, you can create God will create ways for you. And 1 man or 2 men cannot interfere with the path you meant to pursue. So that has been my personal experience, you know.
Oh. Questions, comments for the ladies before we do the last segment? Question or comments for the ladies this side? Question, comments? Okay, it's Dr. Trump and then my brother, two on this side, that's fine. Okay, let's start with Dr. Trump. You wrote the inclusive education. We're going to end up with that today. I want you to share something about it. Go ahead, my bro. Here's a mic.
Yeah, what really impresses me a lot as I'm listening, because I'm trying to connect the dots with the gentleman here, is this sense of destiny, this perception that what is here is not final. And for me, it is something very significant, because it doesn't appear to preachings from many motivational speakers. It's like you'll get it now. But as I'm listening to you now, I can really see myself through. You are very young, eh? But I'm listening to you, and I'm looking at you, the lady here. But I'm really grateful to hear that there are young people who have this kind of a mindset, particularly as a youth worker myself. So I'm just making this comment and say that really we thank God for this input that you are making. Thank you.
You see, Dr. Trump, you've been in the SCMs and the SEO for many years. People don't know you. Very few people know who you are. But you have sown seeds to this younger generation. And today, if we can also be humble enough to learn from them, you see? Because the problem sometimes we think we have also arrived, but these are the fourth industrial revolution. Prosumer now, inverters. So are you a prosumer or what? You know? So it makes me look educated and sound educated. Okay? So don't think that I know I joke a lot, but trust me, I am a student. You know me. I am a student. I never come to a point where I know everything. I'm always an adamant student. I want to learn every day, every morning. So thank you so much. The key word is destiny. But Brother Dan said something powerful. What did you say about destiny? You said your mentality, how did you put it? Your mentality that defines destiny. Okay? That's it. Thank you so much for that. Sir, question or comment that side?
Thank you so much.
Brother Wilson.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your presentation. I just want to ask.
But before the presentation, you need Dlamini to come to Nigeria, because you guys, every time the generators, you know, I've been there many, many times.
Absolutely.
So make sure when we're all done, the ladies from Grenville, we need to give these kids some business. Please stand up, let them see you, because December, that's it. So we come and see you there. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Thank you so much. You probably just mentioned on that aspect I was going to ask them about. I wanted to find out if you have avenues whereby people who have got contacts can maybe get a training from you, and we can do some leverage on our contacts to say train us, and we can then market those solutions to those people. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, such that we have people who have got need for that solution you have, and that we probably want to get trained and then leverage on that contact, and we'll speak to them, and then I don't know if you have that program or avenue. And also, back in Nigeria, maybe I'll just see you personally in that regard, because we have a lot of people who need that solution, a lot of challenge in that area of energy, so it will come handy. But I will actually see you privately on that. Thank you.
Thanks, Brother Wilson.
So it's really, our philosophy is really around, as I mentioned in the beginning, lifting as we rise. So one thing that we definitely do is on the local market, we don't actually install, right? So and this is why we want to distance ourselves from being labeled as solar installers, because that's not what we are. We provide an energy solution. So in our case, our business model, the way it runs at the moment, is such that the installation is actually outsourced. So we've vetted and obviously checked out the people that actually then go and install on our behalf. But and that's the point, right? That we own the front end of the process in terms of customizing and developing the solution, but the installation piece for us is I don't want to say inconsequential, but it's something that we feel we can empower somebody else through, right? So they can also then get a little bit in their back pocket as an outcome of the entire process. So that could probably speak a little bit into, so if it was, say, a solar installation company that wanted to get some training, then we certainly, I mean, we already have partners. We have that's a partnership model that we run, where we have partners that come and understand our product and understand our solution, understand how our smart energy management solution works, and then actually then go forward and do the installations, but on the basis of having been very well trained around the Granville model, the Granville solutioning model, and the Granville customer experience model. I think those are the two critical things that we ensure they're up to speed with.
And tomorrow we're going to spend more time on the job creation, because if you know anything about ICANN, 1, our concern is unemployed graduates. 2, unemployed TVET graduates. 3, unemployed matriculants, like Kathy. And then unemployed, what we call youth at risk. So how do these events help the next generation of leaders, okay? So tomorrow we're going to be dealing, on that particular thing. Guys, any question, comments this side before we wrap it up? Question, comments? Going. Okay, Baba? Okay. Then afterwards, Baba? Trump, when we finish, I want you to close wonderful on the importance of inclusive education. There's some educators here in things like this. New careers, new technologies that you have written in your book. Yeah, boy, Bishop Carter.
Thank you.
So I've already done that. How many churches are under you?
Actually, I brought a couple of bishops here.
No, I'm talking about the continent. How many in the continent?
Right now, we are covering almost 200.
200, so 10% of 2. Okay, Zabona. It's an entrepreneurship workshop, guys. Come on. Right. Yeah. And Timothy, you heard what she said. Contacts into cash. Isn't that amazing? Can you hear all of that stuff? Turning your contacts into cash. You heard what Angela said. 3 people coming in, turn your contacts into cash. In your phone, you've got a business in your phone. That's why I said wealth is who you are. Riches is what you have right there. Go ahead, Baba.
Thank you. I'm not going to do much of questions. Them being with you, I believe that they've been tested. And one thing I like with our lady Dlamini here and our sister there, there's an integrity in what they are saying. I picked up that there's integrity. But my question will be that a lot of our stuff in Africa, I know it's genuine, but it's always tested somewhere to qualify. I believe maybe with your personality, you having our African people, then they will know that this is genuine, because our stuff in Africa, they are not really tested somewhere. We need to be validated in Europe and in America to be genuine, to qualify to say this is real. I don't know how you have been going through that route to prove yourself, while you are competing with the Western world in the products that you are giving.
Thanks so much, Baba. I think Angela said she started this thing, and it's always the case. Back room, a garage, a kitchen, and now she's competing now with the Uber Eats of this world, the Spars of this world. And remember, she said something important. When she got into this field, these is it FCMG or FMCG? That's right. New space. So she had to go and educate herself, so that, again, we need to maintain standard. Because as black people, we need to have this, and I know you and I believe in this. Once you are black, you won't go back, you won't lack, all those things. But professionalism in everything we do, that's been a problem. Siyakokotela. And because Siyakokotela, then we can't compete, because the world does not care whether we're South Africa. If the product is good, Granville, you'll hear the CEO, and now here's a VP of a major multi-billion rand. She was a VP in marketing of a multi-billion rand organization, okay, from overseas. Now with the expertise she's now bringing into the people. And when she mentioned accessibility, that's my heart. For Africa, serving Africa with Africans. And we must never, never be ashamed of that. That's why you don't have the big four here. You've got African Bank, okay? Okay, that's what I'm saying. We need to be proud, started by Sam Mutswenyana, a man with 70 rand and a prayer. Why are we scared to talk? We're not competing. Kat, you said something important. Don't compete. I have learned in life that people are ahead of you on either side, but we run our own race, and I like the word integrity. So today, you know how we test the integrity? During lunchtime, get her contact detail. Mfuna lama juice, I want them in my business. I want to test them. Did you bring some test? Because black people like testing, man.
We sold out. We sold out. We're busy manufacturing because we're obviously a new business. So we have per order, and it's a very sensitive raw product.
Okay.
So we work, but when it's about 2 to 3 days delivery, usually the following day.
No, what's the other ones?
so
because
we
today we're going to
definitely
have masana. It would have been
yes.
nice to have masana. Then
Yeah.
afterwards we drink the juice,
We also
African.
we also
Yeah.
supply events. So we also supply events. We supply other businesses like, so we're actually in 5 retail stores at the moment. So this is Mackenzie Butchery. We are at Arrow Water at Kailami Corner. We are at Impala Fruit and Veg at Clearwater and 2 Spa. So it's Mall at 55 and Sexby Spa. We're still finalizing the agreements to actually now get into more stores with Spa. So the agreement is there. We just need to finalize that, obviously, to get the resources in place to make sure that we're able to meet this demand. And then we have interest from Botswana. I mean, I've had someone who's come through from Botswana. But what I can say to add to what you were saying, sir, is that when you have a good brand and you're consistent and you meet people's expectations or you exceed them, I have return clients, and these are cross-race. It's not just one race. I have people that don't even know me that actually come back and purchase from me over and over again. So we are working on subscriptions, so we will be having, we have packs online, we have juice fasting. There's a whole lot of benefits. If you really go and do your research, there's a lot that's involved when it comes to juicing. In the US, it's $1 billion industry. It is growing in South Africa. So the only thing, as I said, it's the working capital and the capital fund. Obviously, with these agreements, it will make it easier to approach these institutions and get those funds expedited.
So for the next time you've got Bishop events, make sure she comes in with those juices up there. Africa, young people, future, because as we bless her, she creates jobs for the next generation of leaders. We can't wait for government. Some of us waited for a long time. Okay, okay, Madam, from you, what would you say to the bishop? The church part is fine. You can also you can assess churches so that you see what kind of electricity, because ESCOM is killing our churches. Even during lockdown, our friends, some of them are here, they were still getting the bill. Remember, church has been shut down, but they're still getting the bill. And with ESCOM, you pay now, complain later. So what can you do with the bishops also there?
I think, yes, we can certainly have not just a conversation, I think we can certainly take action. I think it's important to distinguish between having conversations and taking action. So yeah, I'd be keen for us to have a conversation and see what kind of solution we can propose for you. And just to the point around integrity, the customer experience management or the customer experience management model is entrenched in everything that we do. And I also don't want to sit here and sort of give the impression that we always get it right and we're 100% perfect in our execution. I think it's also important to just highlight that where you sometimes fall short or where you sometimes go a little bit astray or not live up to the customer's expectations, that's what I'm looking for, how do you remedy that? Because sometimes even those customers that you don't initially make such a good impression with become the ones that advocate for you the most. So I'm sure that ladies in the back can tell you 1 or 2 stories where things have gone wrong and we've been able to make it right again. So the customer experience management model for us is absolutely critical, and I think that's one thing that should certainly set your experience with us apart from any other.
Great stuff. Going to places like Nigeria, where like I speak to a governor, they would say, okay, you want to see the references. People in Africa, they always say, want to see the places where you've been. If you've got some references, I think you can pick up some business. I'm not doubting the ability of our own people, but they always have these questions. to say, where have you been?
But that's what I'm saying. After lunch, just check and you'll be impressed.
Thank you.
On what Granville is doing. Number two, Bishop, tomorrow the CEO who is supposed to be here is in Niger. Now there's a difference between Nigeria and Niger. Two different countries, ne? Yeah, he's already there. So you will be impressed on what these guys are doing. Okay, sales ladies, okay, look at that. Look at their hands. I said, sharp, sharp, they're waiting for you there. Hundreds of reference. Brother Trump, before we close, the importance of this inclusive education. You wrote a book, and I was privileged to launch that book in Kwakwa. Could you just give us the importance of that inclusive education that is relevant, so that people like Kathy maybe could have finished matric or really N5 tabona, you know, they kept on doing half, you know. Yeah. Yes. No, you can come up here. Let people see. Yeah.
Okay.
You're on TV, Bruce. Smile. Jesus loves you, man.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mlapo, for the opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been a good listener and listening to all the presentation that has been made. Normally, when I'm going to talk, I say, Apostle Hobokwe, we're from one college with him. And, but I have had a problem. When I left the college, I was sent to Kwakwa. And in Kwakwa, I was basically going there to do what we call school ministry, and that saw me working with SEM. In the process of working, during the struggle, as you know, in South Africa, there was a slogan, freedom first, education later. Something that even the fathers of liberation movement, like your Oliver Tambo, the people who were in prison, had to speak against that. And we started seeing that the education of the black child getting eroded. But I went there ordinarily as a pastor who was sent to preach and get people converted. But I realized that people are converted, but there are social, psychosocial factors within the schooling system. And then the good doctor arrived from United States. And then he was writing article in Sowetan, speaking about AIDS and the importance. He was particularly very interested in education. So what I started doing in the absence of internet at the time, I started using newspaper articles as my research that will enable me to productively speak within educational context. And I ended up being this pastor, a principal, a rector could sit down with. And I realized that as I did a research in this book, I realized that there is what you call a pastoral care ministry within educational institutions. And you would, like I referred, coming from the Bible college, I realized that religion cannot only be used. Religion is more important in a total development of a human being. And not just as, when you work within academic, institutions, you can tell when you begin to speak, there are those who don't believe. Amen, hallelujah, pastors, say it, prophesy. You're talking to minds, you engage. So now, I really get a lot of help from the article from Dr. Mlap. And he didn't know you were not writing just into it's a secular thing. But I want to thank God that from those articles, in 1994, just before the freedom came to South Africa, as we voted in 1994, many of the guys I worked with in the SEM, many had left. And I had one question I asked myself, You know, that's why I listened to these young people when they're talking here. I said, if, you know, when you work in school, you ask difficult questions. You know, you're not like working in the church. You ask a real difficult question. You have people, they have serious problem. Now, here is a question I ask. If God really exists, and he has called me, and I'm a pastor, would I leave this situation as I see it here? Children during the struggle, they were taught to disrespect leaders. Teachers, they were taught to disrespect what we called inspectors at the time. They would come to school, they'd throw eggs at them. There was a total leadership vacuum. At the same time, the country was implementing a new constitution and a new policies. The previous policy of education, or the previous education system, was called the Christian education. And mind you, that Christian education, it was that education of apartheid that departmentalized people according to their race. But because white people were lenient to preach, black pastors started believing, oh, no, this government doesn't like religion. And I was there, and I had in the middle of that, teachers could not interpret the policy. Even people from the district office. Churches were withdrawing from the schooling system. I said, is this the time? I understand there's no money, but if the money was the only thing that brought me here, ladies and gentlemen, that I say, I really can say, I leave my Bible, I go back home. I have to answer, if God is a God of love, then God cannot leave these people as they are. The government is struggling to get order in schools. Their very same policy have become problem to them. So it is in that context I had to stay. I engaged the government. I called the MEC of Education. I sit with them. The ministers. At the time, we had Kada Asmal. We had the first minister was Professor Bengu, and then there was Kada Asmal. Kada Asmal was said not to be having a religion of his own. But he had a deputy minister, was Father Smangali Somkajwa. So I said, call Father Mkajwa. At a meeting with Pastor Mkajwa, I called him. I said, come talk, stakeholders, talk to pastors. Tell them, you guys from the African National Congress government, you don't say you didn't ban the church from the schools. We need the church there. Ladies and gentlemen, you and I know what's happening in schools. Right now we are writing exams, how many kids are getting killed? If there is one thing, if there is one thing as a parent, if you cannot answer this question, when you have a child of your own, and the child go to university and commit suicide, if you cannot taste that pain, then I don't know what type of a parent you are. Then I don't know what type of a pastor you are. So these issues that has influenced me to kind of write this book is because what I think that what the transition of education has brought to our society. Now here is a problem where it lies. Here's the problem where it lies. Inclusive education, it's a global phenomenon. It was adopted here around, I think, 2003 as a policy. And this policy that says inclusive education, according to the legislation, the church, religious communities, business, like for instance, we are talking about children. Dr. Mlap, when I was doing the research in this book, I cried. I was doing about 4 schools. I ended up doing 2 schools. Because as a pastor, my research, when the teacher sees me, said, Mfundisi, now we want to get the kids also. Come and interview the kids. You got the kids, this child is raped. Cannot concentrate at the school. During the break, the child keeps on crying. Pastor, here you are. And then when you talk inclusive education, let me take you briefly through this. Yeah, 1 minute, briefly this. You have your school-based teams, you have your district-based teams. These are the structures that must support the child. But these structures are not effective because as a community, as a church, we don't know what our role is in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I wrote this book. I wrote this book so that as a community, as a church, we can take interest in the education of our own children. I know many at times people feel, Pastor, you're not in the spirit to talk about education. It is the missionaries who started the schools. For that, if in the research in my second volume that talks about called into the world of education, I talk about Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo as making Bible study in the village when they were at Fort Hare University as the member of what we call SEO now, which was Student Christian Association. So what I'm saying to you now is that the church has brought education. Our leaders were educated in missionary schools. So it is very much a call. This book is a call to the church. It's a call to business. It's a call to community and say, let's go back and look at our children. Time fails me to can project the right picture about what is in this book, about what our children are going through this, in our education system. But fortunately, God has given me an opportunity to write this book. I thank you, Dr. Mlapo.
As you sit down, I wanted you just to see this is what's happening. Particularly some of you pastors who are here, because Corona, a lot of people, the love offerings have dried up. We talk about entrepreneurship. So I have challenged Dr. George Trom through this book. We're going to be doing a big thing right here in this hotel with all the SGBs, okay? The governing bodies, we're going to do that. He's going to be the main speaker talking about this. Again, Pastor, there's no verse, there's no dove, there's no Holy Ghost thing here, okay? It's a book. But inclusive education, how we can get curriculum development, juices, energy. These are kind of what we call careers of the future. It's included here. So he'll be here after lunch. Speak to him. As a church, invite him, but please make sure you give him a love offering, and the offering must have some love in it. You're supposed to say amen, Daddy.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Amen.
And then some of you business guys, some of you parents, some of you NGOs, Ndate Trom can come in as a consultant. You pay his petrol, you bless him. This is revolutionary stuff. Taking us back to, if we were doing this thing from 1994, Katie, we would not have dropped young guys like you. Angela, you guys would not be doing those juices. Granville would not even be doing the energy tech thing now because we would have been way ahead. We would have leapfrogged like we're doing with the other technologies. So thanks so much, Ndate Trom. I wrote the foreword for his book. I believe in this book. Please, he'll be here with his lovely wife. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Ndate. Angela, one word, last word. Please look at the camera. One last word. You'll say the same thing, Mashamini, then we close. And the good news is by 2 o'clock, so we still have that last session. The tasting thing, while they tell us the food is ready, then we'll be there. Last words, House Angela?
Okay, so I'm of the view that for a business to succeed, you have to have great business development skills, right? So obviously with my sales and marketing background and how I've been able to grow the business from the bottom up, and also contributing all the skill sets that I've learned over the years, what I've been able to achieve I would not have been able to do that without that business development skill, and also that marketing skill and the creativity behind it. So what I also offer, and I've been doing over the years, is assist businesses. I've assisted boutique hotels, I've assisted many other businesses to grow their businesses through our creative ways, through our business development management skills. So I also do that consultancy for businesses while I do the juice business, because it is an integral part of growing the Choose Juice business. So that is how we've been able to grow it and sustain it so far as well, because we have to incorporate that as well. So for those who are keen, who are interested, who would like to also take on our consultancy from myself and my team, we're happy to assist. So all I can say is that thank you everyone for coming through. Thanks for contributing. Thanks to Dr. Mlapo for inviting me. Thanks to Ashley for being a game changer in the industry. I would like to also I'm impressed by what you're venturing into, and I would like to wish you all the best in what you're doing. Thank you.
Madam, last words from your side?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, it's an absolute privilege to sit here, I guess, sit, not stand, to sit here today. I have many others that are with me. So on behalf of our entire team, the installers, our partners, our various divisions within the business, it really is an absolute privilege to be amongst kin. And I think as an entrepreneur to fellow entrepreneurs, I think it's also important to just mention that the Granville business is, yes, as much as Tubby is our CEO, but we are very much a family business. So we are all entrepreneurs in our right in the business. So I am amongst kin in an entrepreneurial environment. So I think for me also just to encourage everybody, I think COVID has done most of us quite dirty. Some of us have found opportunity within COVID, but a lot of us probably have not had such a good time over the last 2 years. So I think really just to encourage you to persevere, to continue to be tenacious, and to just hold on to that dream and that vision that you've set out for yourselves. Thank you.
Well, that's it for tonight's program. That was Miss Angela and Miss Dlamini. And remember, keep dreaming. And dream big, because dreaming big is free of charge. I can do my part, you can do your part together. Let's keep our dream alive. We can. Come on, give yourself a wonderful round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mom. The last one is going to be a short interview, and then we're going to be 2 o'clock sharp. You know I'm strict on time. 2 o'clock sharp, we need to be out there to get some food, and feel free to fellowship. How's Amy? Is how's Amy here? Did she finally make it? How's Amy? She's not there. Okay. The last one, how's Mama? Mandla? Okay. Is your team Thank you. Only one speaker, that's it. And then Sbu, you'll wrap it up then afterwards, after this. Mama, we're still doing good on time, okay? So first of all, thank you so much for being here today. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Is it on? Oh,
hello, everyone.
That's it? Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. Sbu,
Hello, everyone.
much better. There you go.
Got you, Sbu. My name is Mandla Mabunda. I'm a dietitian, and I'm a managing director of Masana Dietitians. And our vision really is to serve our people with good quality food products and our training services. So we're very grateful to be here, and hopefully we'll learn a lot from this and many more.
Your history is colorful. Originally, you're from which rural area?
I'm from Guyana in Limpopo. Yes, that's where I'm from.
And then how did you get involved in this food substance thing? I mean, most of us, apartheid told us supposed to be a cop, a teacher, a nurse, but you went the other direction. What prompted that?
Okay, my mother was a nurse, and she was running the mobile clinic, and as part of the outreach programs, they used to hand out powdered supplements to malnourished children in the villages. I remember there was a biscuit that we used to receive at school, which was fortified with vitamins and minerals. That's one part. And at home, my dad was a diabetic, and food, as you know, with diabetes plays a very key role. So I would see how his food was prepared differently, how we had to change some of the things that we had around the house, how my mother would cook specifically for him. So in that regard, I started to understand the power of nutrition. And you know, when they say you are what you eat, that's when, for me, it was literally what was happening in the house. And I remember he also used to whenever we didn't want to finish, you know, when you don't want to eat the crust of a slice of a bread, he would tell us about all these kids from Somalia and Ethiopia. That was, I guess everyone knows the story. So that's how I believe my love for food and the role of food in our lives, everyday life, came about. At the time, I was not really aware that this was happening in me. But from that young age, I already knew that that was the path that I was going to take. So when I passed matric and I went to university, that is the course that actually I think it called me, because at the time, funny enough, I didn't know that there was a course called dietetics. I only found out when I arrived at University of Natal, and I had already been accepted in the MBCHB course. But then when I got there, I found about this thing, and that's how I.
So you sacrificed you becoming a medical doctor, and you went the dietetics way.
Yes, and my dad was not very impressed. He would always say, no, she's doing her food thing. You know, in third year, he had already researched that in third year you can actually bypass back to the MBC people in that area, in the nutrition.
And food is important because, you know, as pastors, we always talk about the original sin, but really, the sin was something they ate. Bajile something, again. Come on, don't look at me like that. Bajile something, I eat. So this thing of the food, and also particularly as the black culture, we used to be healthy people. But with the advent of this Eurocentric stuff, whatever, some of us, we do short things. I mean, and some of us, we also kill ourselves. We have porridge, mutoho, in the morning, then pap during lunch, and then in the evening we've got this mountain, then it shall be removed. So we have a problem with starch, with salt, with sugar. And if the truth be told, a lot of our ills are because of what we eat. Yeah. And then from there, you worked at a hospital. Yes. And then from the hospital, what happened?
Okay, from a local hospital, then again, I think it was that thing that was pulling me from inside. I decided to apply for one of the international FMCG companies in South Africa. They make most of the products that we eat for children and for adults, and I applied as a sales rep there. So I got appointed as one of the dietitians who was dealing with getting the products into the pharmacy.
It's nothing wrong, this is my show. So you can tell them what company that was.
Okay, Nestle South Africa.
Yes.
So I started working there as their sales rep, and that's where I was exposed really into this FMCG space, especially with products that are meant to enhance someone's nutritional
And by default, that's where you first encountered the ICANN team, the David Malapo, because I was doing the whole leadership training. Wilson, are you ready for this? And they moved them to Nigeria. You know, Nestle is big in Nigeria, so that you should know, okay, in there. But then you moved from a sales rep. When you left them, what was the level that you attained there?
Okay, so when I left them, that is now about 10 years ago, I was the business development manager. I was heading some of the key accounts, including our government tenders, and part of my role was to go out in the community to see if we can get consumer insights as to what new products that our markets are looking for or could benefit from. So that's...
But something happened to you, Mandla, Matima, something happened to you. You got tired of working for these guys because they're always about profit, profit, profit. Mandla, meaning the show before, you heard that, you know, while profit is good, but you must be socially responsible. You got sick and tired because you came up with food supplements that could do a better job than all those brand names. But what did they say to you?
Okay, so I came up with a solution after our consumer insights and gathering the insights from the market as to what solution, because, okay, let me start here. The challenge was that most of our people, they love being associated. Someone spoke about brands. They loved the association with the company. However, ours was a premium sort of a brand. So although they will buy one tin for their child, 400 grams of whatever formula, they would end up over diluting that. So the child would end up still having malnutrition. And I would see that in the government space where I was also involved, because malnutrition is not, even now, is not going down. So we do have a real serious problem, and not only here in South Africa, but globally, especially in Africa. That's where those are the headquarters of malnutrition. So now those insights, I took them back, and I also did a prototype. It's nice working for those guys because then you get these things that you can play with. So I could do that, and then we formulated a product in the market. We did some few prototypes, sampling. Consumers loved it, everything. It was nutritionally balanced. But you know, the headquarters are sitting in Manila, Switzerland, so everything has to go via that. So they didn't like the product, not because it was not a quality product, but because the entry level was not suiting our profile and positioning in the market, which is a premium brand. So basically, in a nutshell, I was told that we're not in the business of charity or doing those kind of low-cost products, and therefore they're not going to launch it as one of their own. Besides, it was in direct competition with one of the premium brands that was, at the moment, we were marketing that for young children. So it was canned. And I took a personal knock on that because I invested my time, skills, and energy, and I really believed in the brand. And the South African team also believed in the brand, but because headquarters are not here, decisions are not made here, actually. So I decided after 2 months that, you know what, I have all these things, I'm just going to do it by myself.
The
And
pastors
that's
will
when I
say the
left.
Jerusalem mentality. Paul says, Jerusalem,
Yeah, I
the Jerusalem mentality. So today we are going to celebrate. Ladies, we can get started because we are preparing for lunch. So today, how many products are we going to test?
Okay, today we've brought our NutriBoost, which is an energy supplement that you can either take as a meal or you can take as a shake. It's high in protein, high in energy, so something that the whole family can consume, and you can use that as a shake in the morning for those that are in a hurry, or you can use it as a snack during the day. And then we also have, we have 3 flavors of that we brought for you that you can...
But can we see the package? Can we see the package?
Yes, we will have, Lindy, where you can just bring us one packet here, but we also
One
have a
package of
stand outside. You have it actually on the tables, so each one of you can have a look at that and pass it around.
No, but I want for TV, I want you to show the stuff. Yeah. Okay, can we have it 3, please? Thank you, Abba. This is, if I'm Mama, I'll go ahead. Yes. Which is the other one? Sorry. Which is the other one? Other 2?
The other one is actually...
Yeah, can we have that?
The other one is our baby. It's Nutrovit. You know...
No, we'll take it a step at a time. Don't rush, just one. Where's the third one? We're going to taste it vandag. Is that the third one?
It's just another flavor. There's a chocolate flavor,
and
I think other tables have got strawberry flavor.
Okay. But this one you can trust it, yeah. You can trust this one. Okay, let's start with this big one there. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is our naturally gluten-free. So all those people who've got allergies from wheat and wheat-related products, you can have this. It's based on maize meal, which is a staple for all Africans. It's high in protein, high in essential nutrients, vitamin C and zinc, more especially, you know, now with COVID, you need to boost your immune system. So we are talking 80% of your NRVs. That is your nutritional requirement values. And you would like to know, I heard the bishop asking about accreditations and all this testing. We were fortunate. Our government helped us a lot through the CEDA agency. They took all our products for SABS testing. So you can rest assured they've been tried and tested in the market. That's why we also have...
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
That's why we also have the Proudly South African branding at the bottom, because we are a member of Proudly South African. I'm very much excited about this one because, as you know, I'm passionate about early childhood development. So the first 1,000 days of life, that is now from birth to 2 years, that is the most crucial period in a child's development. Most of our children, more especially, as we are sitting here globally at any given time, we've got 20 million children who do not have access to healthy nutrients. And as you know, vitamins, the body does not make vitamins. You have to consume vitamins and minerals, okay? And they play a huge role. So during the first 1,000 days, you know, Dr. Mulab, your brain to develop, mentality, physical development, purely dependent on the nutrients that the child is consuming. So as you can close your eyes right now, you know a malnourished child. I'm not talking about HIV and what it's doing in our community. We basically do not have, poverty is not actually helping the situation as well. So you can imagine all the groupings in our society that could benefit from just getting proper nutrition. So that is what we are about. When I talk about our vision to serve our people with good quality nutrition and our services, this is actually what we are talking about.
The last thing, and then we will obviously taste you. We're not rushing, whatever. I know you're with my wife. Is this Sunday, Ratu? The pastor's wife's thing?
The Saturday.
Or is this Saturday? So there are some pastors here, so they can invite you for you to do a proper, a presentation. Somebody already asked me, Ketli, give a typical proper presentation for an about 1 hour, then 30 minutes. Austria was asking me, she's already connecting you with some people. Now let's talk to you. If we go to a church setting, they can have samples. You have what we call these stations there. For you to do a proper presentation, how many minutes do you need?
30 minutes max. We should be okay.
Then allow also a question and answer session.
Yes, because what we do is what is malnutrition? Why do we have malnutrition? What do we need to correct that? And going forward. So really, it's about...
So some of these things don't need prayer. They just need a product. That's all. You don't need prayer. They just need a product.
Okay, we always pray for people with what we do.
That product and then
No, sometimes we just need the science behind. Most of the times it's just someone mentioned something about people perishing because of lack of information.
Yeah.
It's simply that with nutrition. Okay. There are people who have got acid. Now, as black people, it's no longer really deep poverty, but it's poverty in the sense of understanding what each thing plays in our life. We don't understand how crucial nutrition is because we do have access to buy your yogurts and all these things, but we don't know the actual thing that we need, and it's not as complicated as we make it out to be. Yeah. And there are people who are riding on that ignorance. So all we are saying as Masana dietitians is that, listen, stop, let's breathe. All you need for your brain to function properly. Let's focus on the first 1,000 days of life. Let's go to those crashes. Let's go and supplement our children's diet with this. This is 1 gram. 1 gram in this pack contains 15 essential nutrients that the child needs.
And Kibuka, because I know these are entrepreneurs. Yeah, here you Masana, but let's talk about the price. How much is something like that?
So this will be like 100 rand.
100 rand and saving, how many savings?
It's 30 days saving because it's only 1 gram per day that your child needs.
That's it?
Yes. So if a child is going to crash, you're not sure what they're feeding your child while you're there. In the morning, you mix with whatever the child is eating.
And you can mix either with water or
yes, you can mix it with. It does not change the taste. It does not change the look and feel of your whatever product. It's very easily it's very highly soluble, so it dissolves in whatever it is that you're eating. I'm particularly interested in those children in the rural areas where they only have umtoho. You spoke of umtoho. There's a perfect vehicle to give your child nutrition while only having umtoho. Because some of our people, it's not like they want to give only umtoho. That's all they have.
But these adults can taste it today. I'm going to taste it today.
Yes, this you can taste. We'll have one there. But now we're mixing one for you. I actually wanted to give you now a glass now while we're here. Lindy, our beautiful Lindy, if you can, please pour.
And then the Nutri Boost thing, how much is that package there?
So the Nutri Boost, you'd also, because we make this ourselves, a kg goes for about 40 rand. Now do a quick calculation with what is coming to your mind, because I know you have something that you're currently consuming. It's actually almost half of that, and for 500 grams, that is what is going.
So how much is that whole package?
This is 40 rand.
No, they're going to be shocked because I'm going to show them how much our supplements are. Yeah. Supplements are expensive, so this is reasonable. So this one, do we do it once a day also? No, the Nutri Boost?
NutriBoost is really up to you. Some people want to now control what they're eating. So as a shake, because it's high in fiber, it takes long for it to transit through your system. Okay. So you become fuller for longer, so you don't need to overeat. So that is what is lovely about this one.
So individuals here, we're talking about entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I'm going to be talking about today, when people leave, they can buy masks today.
Yeah.
buy mask, buy lodi rekisa. So you bought some products also there.
Yes, we do have, and we also, okay, maybe I should mention this. We were, for the past 9 years, servicing most of the government departments. We've been servicing school feeding nutritions, we've been servicing hospitals. So only now we feel we are ready to expand into the commercial space. Good. Hence now you'll see more of us, and we're hoping to have some marketing space even on TV and community radio stations talking about our products. So we are venturing into the commercial space now, and we are graduating from government only.
And that is why the connection with ICANN,
exactly.
So that we use our platforms to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm going to have my taste here. Smooth, come on in, Baba. We need to, Baba. Yeah.
Lindy, please, yeah. If you can check there, she's mixing strawberry,
yeah, but which one is this one here? Which one is this one here?
That one is the chocolate. Oh, I didn't realize it was brought to you already.
Yeah,
that's the chocolate. So if you... It's very nice.
And it's fulfilling.
And what we have tried to do here, what is lovely, if you ask us about our unique selling point, is that it tastes like umdoho wasekhaya. That
so
was
which
the
one is?
whole
Was
point.
it the Nutri-Boost or this small one?
It's the Nutri-Boost. This is a powder. This is a powder.
Oh, for kids.
Yes. So that one.
Now
that
for your sex life, does it help? Because
perfect,
these guys.
I'm telling you.
See, they're all that laughing there. When you boost, everything must be boosted, all right? You guys are too serious. This is not a church, guys. It's an immune boosting system.
Exactly.
If you know anything about ICANN, you heard from Dr. Trom, from HIV/AIDS, immune boosting, and I'm serious. I'm gonna show you the products here. Our products, you know. So I'm asking the right question that you are afraid to ask. Let me ask you. Go ahead, my sister. Let's finish my last one.
No. But exactly, you know, with zinc and its properties and its function in the body. So he's right. I know it sounds comfortable, but he's actually very right.
Sure.
So it boosts you like holistically.
But all of us are going to taste that, right? After we eat and everything, because this is good stuff.
Yes.
And it comes with which flavor?
So we've got the original one, and we've got vanilla, and we've got strawberry.
It's good, this one.
Yeah.
So okay, guys, because of time, let's have the last words. You're here, you're not rushing. After food, we're going to come and taste. I want to taste the different flavors up in there. And there, you all have got some available now.
Yes.
Because a lot of people will say they must bring some money to buy our books and products. Because I practice what I preach. We invested, so we like for them to leave with something because it's the seed economy. We can't just be taking. People need to buy something. I don't care if it's Keki's book, your book, whatever. They need to do something. Go ahead.
Yes. No, thank you. It's an honor, actually, to be
Can we
here.
also mention the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd? We're going to have a big healthcare conference, an international conference in this room with about 500 people. And you're also one of our partners and sponsors. Let's give them a wonderful round of applause. Thank you so much. We are going to showcase this to all the international people. So everyone, the nurses, the doctors, the psychiatrists, everybody, they're going to be tasting this in this for 3 days. Day number 1, World AIDS Day, which is December the 1st. Then the 2nd day, people with disability. 3rd day, it's the whole thing of healthcare. So we will be having it. And again, I want to say thank you so much, my wife and I, and the ICANN team, looking forward to working with you. Okay. Let's give it up for Sis Mandla.
Thank you.
Mabunda, Amandla. Now, you thought I was joking. When you leave up here today, I'll finish up with the books. We do have what we call X Power Coffee. Okay? This one is prostate for Majida. Prostate. A lot of us, we die of prostate cancer. We are careless as guys because we don't go for checkup. And most of the time when we get prostate, it's already stage 4. So I'm using this myself. Okay? It's available. The prostate, it's a 30-day supply. It's available. And the second part is what we call X Power Man capsules. Only Amajita. Ladies, Zamajita nje kuphela. Viva Majita, viva. If you do not like capsules, again, supplements, 100% safe, we've got X Power Coffee. So before shy coffee, okay, it's available here. This one, the other one. Then for the ladies, we've got Femicare. It's available there, the supplements. And we also have what we call Femi Energy. But for every guy, man or woman, because of Corona, this is our best-selling one. Pure and Broken Ganoderma Spores, okay? Check it up, FDA approved. It's big all over the world, but you can find it today. It's available here to boost your immune system. We don't know. They're telling us maybe the second or third week, wave number 4 is coming. We don't know. But as long as you keep yourself healthy, whether you've been vaccinated or not vaccinated, you still keep to have your immune thing up. Is that okay? So the stuff is there. And then for all your diabetes and things like that, ginseng coffee. And guys, I also recommend this for Amajita. Ginseng is good. It cleans all the pipes so that your mtlakaso kaspana shapu, whether it's solar or prosumer or whatever, you know. Come on, I'm applying what I've learned here, guys. You know, the ginseng will help you. Another one, veggie. This is like Brooklux. I'm sorry. This is the Brooklux of BF Suma. It will clean your system. Because the problem with most of us, we are not healthy because of the gut. Mala aruna Spanish up. We need to clean mala aruna so that whatever nutrients you're bringing, whether it's masana or the juice, whatever, the nutrients must be able to flow. It's also available today. And then this one is a water purifier. Our water is a mess. Just like Eskom is a mess, our water system is a mess. This is also available, okay? And then the anti-aging. For anti-aging, we also have capsules for the anti-aging stuff. And then the last one is the Cool Roll. This little thing has done wonders. It's menthol. Every morning, you just do it like this. It does wonders. If you've got a headache, you just try it. I promise you, it will do wonders. This one's available now. Is that right? Smooth, let's get up with a book and then I interview you. Just bring me the books here, Baba. And then I want you also to be sitting here. And then I want the 5 whys. Sharp. Okay. There's also other books there. The books that are available. This is entrepreneurship support. Some of us, we have spent years, we paid the school fees so that you don't have to pay the school fees. Okay. Okay, remember, Brakeli, the miracle is available out there, is that right? And he'll be able to sign for you today. And then this one, excellence in ministry. Again, we've made some big mistakes in a lot of areas, so we've got books like this. That is, by the way, the hallmark of Ntate Khobokwe, excellence. Rob Thompson is my friend for many years. We brought him here, and our lives just changed. Excellence in ministry. Most of you know that we are in men's ministry for fathers of adolescents. Today we talk about the gender-based violence. It's because fathers, there's no school for fathering. I see you. So some of us, our fathers only hugged us, only one. Some of us, we got present but absent fathers. How do you become a better father? And then this one is a best-selling book, Leadership Towards the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Things are changing, things are here, the book is here. Our mentor, Dr. John Maxwell, 360-degree leader. Dr. Dan teaches on this. You buy the book if you want us to train on it. Make sure you get in touch with Dr. Dan. How to lead up, down, and across. And then our best-selling book, Choose to Change, by a friend of mine, David Malapo. Championship Fathering, how to be a good father. But we also have, because of technology, we now have a USB with about 16 of our books, DVDs, everything is loaded there. You will see when you go to a bookstore what you have. You just download it, you have it for life. It's also available. Thanks, Boo. And then Growing Without Limits, it's available. Dr. John C. Maxwell, How to Lead in Tough Times. This book has helped, this CD has helped me personally when I went through my dark, dismal days. Dr. Maxwell was a blessing to me. Abna Mariri, my right-hand man, The Door, An Addict's Journey. Abna was my right-hand man for many years. Got involved in, Abna for many years. Got involved in drugs. This is a powerful book. He was here at the last conference here. The book is there, The Door. As parents, we are naive. We do not have a clue. Just give our young people money. We drop them at the mall. We don't know what these thugs are doing through our children. Abna explains how he himself got hooked up in this thing, and thank God he's now clean. So we are teaching substance abuse to all the people. I can counsel. If you are a parent, a leader, you need this book. Particularly during Corona times, counseling is becoming strategic. And then Arthur Fanel, one of my sons, Why Mary Did Not Miscarry. Discover 3 keys to translate big dreams into reality. Okay, what's the title of your book? Just make sure it's on. The Genesis for Possibilities. No, just get the other one. Just get the other one.
It's the Genesis for Possibilities.
Smooth's book is there, Genesis for Possibilities. And Tate Khobokwe, Wisdom from Country, A Life Worth Living. Powerful book. I also did a thing here. He is doing awesome stuff. Can invite him in your churches, particularly as a business coach in your businesses. Doesn't matter how big your company is, how small. This is wise. If you know anything about Apostle Khobokwe, he's a wise man, a man with wisdom. Whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, this book is for you. He'll actually close for us in when we finish with this one. Get ready, Tati. Smooth, you've done a good job today, Baba. We are wrapping up.
Thank you, Doc.
But if you were to leave some words of wisdom, short and sweet, what would you say to the people?
I would have to divert my attention to the most misunderstood concepts in life. And most of them come in the form of questions. I'm very honored, number one, to be mentored by you, Dr. Dave, and I'm currently pursuing my degree in leadership. And part of my research, I happened to come across this book by John C. Maxwell, Leadership. I fell in love with it from the Leadership.
Good, yeah.
And this is where we currently are. And now this is so important. We can actually title this message a $1 million message because many people are missing this. So as part of the shift I had to go through in a space of 2 weeks, I happened to realize that people are missing the most important questions to be answered. And we don't answer this question by merely asking, who are you? I am Sbukumalo. Where are you from? I'm from Fostoras or Mtlaking, what have you. We actually answer these questions by our form of life. There is a way, Dr. Dave, life questions us. It questions us through bufferings. It questions us through buffetings. It questions us through troubles, trials, and challenges. We are what we are based on how we answer when life questions us. So it actually goes with what I would like to entitle the big 5 W's. Dr. Dave, the most richest person in our audience, or either actual or live, is going through these 5 questions. The most impoverished person, in whatever sense, is going through these 5 questions. The person who happened to have died and have not been able to answer these 5 questions was actually killed. I want to repeat that. Any person who's been taken away from life without even answering these 5 questions, this is the most important thing we need to look at. So I want to start with the last one, which is where are you going? And Dr. Dave, you said it quite well at the beginning of your inspiration that we all lead up to being significant in life, being legacy people, because leading is about oneself, but leaving a legacy is about those coming after you. And every time from the first day I got converted, this was my prayer, that Lord, may I be the one you're going to use for my generation and the generation after. And I want everyone listening to us to understand this is very important. You do not have the answer. And you will probably die without any answer because you've been created to be an answer to your generation and the generation coming after you. That's very important. The more we seek for answers, we'll be just doing this rat race without appreciating and understanding and believing that we are the answer. So speaking about where we are going in life, we have 3 S's in life, 3 letter S's, not, 3 letter S's I'm not sure which one they're thinking about.
So,
three letter S's we need to adhere to. The first one, Braketli will attest to, is called a startup. We all began a startup. He had his own fair of startup, and we all are. And the second one is where most of us in this room and those viewing us online are at, which is success. We are at our success. We can do some work, come back home, see how much we've cashed in. We can do some work, return back home, take our family for vacation. But the one we need to aim at as a part of answering where are you going in life is the last S, which is significant. After God calls you, what then? Because the late Dr. Miles Monroe said, if you die and everything else you own dies with you, therefore you were a failure. Doesn't matter you've lived for 80 years or 20 years. You've died as a failure. Which, in order for you to gravitate and answer the fifth question, which is, where are you going? You need to take a step leading to that, which is the fourth W that says, what can you do? Whenever we pray for a miracle, it doesn't happen as a blip. It happens in calculation. It happens in what? In calculation. Calculating what you do have with what God can do. Most people's prayer life consists of things that God does not do. Because whenever they ask for something, they ask for something to fall from heaven, and that is it. But the true question, after asking something from God, the question is, what do you have? What do you have? You may not have the skill to speak as I can, but you do have the skill to network, which we have to do during lunch. You might not have the skill to network, but you do have the skill of sales. Sis did quite well in selling her product. You may not have the skill to sell, but if the skill of counting, whatever